Yvonne, and this lovely guy here is Storm. Now he's a young German Shepherd that came in a couple of days ago for dog aggression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a training technique called BAT. Now this is more just an explanation of the stuff that we do here. It's quite a difficult thing to achieve at home. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the environment. Now bear with me for a second, I'm going to climb up over a fence just to show you. What I have here is a big open space with lots of escape routes and stuff, and a group of playing dogs. Now what I can do is I can use this environment to teach Storm that reacting isn't the only thing that he can do. He can actually move away from the scary things. For that purpose I have a long line attached to him. Now if you bear with me for a moment, what I'm going to do is I am going to pop the camera up. We've got like a little place kind of where it works. Hang on. Now bear with me for a moment. Just going to switch it round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be training in that area there. Hopefully my camera will work and stay there. Okay, stop. Boy. Now, I have Storm on his long... Oh dear, that's the Windy Merthyr. So, what I do is I have Storm, who is on a long line next to me. And what I'm going to do is, because the fence is there, I can actually allow him to approach the fence, and I know that he can't cause any damage. So what I have is a situation where I can allow him to approach dogs, bring him to a slow stop using some lead techniques that we use quite a lot here in Merthyr, and yeah, just show you exactly what's what. So Storm, when he came in, I think it was only a couple of days ago, couldn't actually be anywhere near any other dogs, and what I've been doing is I've been doing this and allowing him to make good choices for himself. So if I can set this up properly. Now this is the tricky thing, doing live lessons with a dog an aggression case, because I don't know how this is going to go. So we shall find out. So So, this is the reason that real-world dog training isn't as popular as like Cesar Milan and all that kind of thing. Cesar Milan would be doing great big displays, sort of stringing dogs up and stuff like that. Real-world dog training is really, really boring. So when Storm is, I feel like he's getting to the point where he might start reacting or going over threshold, I am doing a thing called a slow stop. So I'm letting the lead run through my hand and then holding on to the end of it. So I'm not jerking him to a stop, I'm not using any force or anything like that. I'm just allowing him to approach the end of his lead and make his own choices. So I'll show you that again. So all I'm doing is I'm following him when I feel he's getting too close. I'm bringing him to a slow stop and giving him the option to turn away. You want to go? Yes, good boy. Yeah, that was a good choice. You want to go again? Hello, Elmo. Good boy, good boy. Okay, do you see how I allowed him to approach? And actually I didn't let him get too close. I brought him to a gentle stop. So again, that was through using this slow stop technique. And what I'm doing is I'm allowing him to kind of approach, observe the situation, and then make his own choices. It's quite an empowering way of training. Now, what I'm going to do is I have Storm's favourite toy in my pocket. He hasn't realised this. So the next time he turns away, I'm going to get this out and we're going to play a game with it. Now, this is going to reinforce that turning away. So have a look. So what this did was this turned a negative experience into a positive experience. So Let me see if I can get the toy off Storm. So Storm, drop. Good boy, there we go. So I have the toy again. Yet again, I'm going to hide it. I'm going to let him approach, and when he makes the right choices, I'm going to reward. So yeah, I thought I'd just show you that simple technique. It's actually quite difficult. It's there's a lot more to it involved than that, but just wanted to show you exactly what we do, because a lot of people think that Roy Vaughan uses all sorts of different methods, to be honest, but this is one of the favourite ones of myself and Alex, who work here. So yeah, hope you found it useful, hope you enjoyed it. I hope Storm's owners enjoyed seeing him not reacting to other dogs, and yeah, I'll see you for the next lesson. Right. Hi guys, I thought I'd do another live video. It seems a few of you are quite interested in Storm's story, so yeah, I thought I would just show you this. Now this lunatic pulling on the lead is my own dog, and this is Storm. So Storm had previously gone to some other trainers and stuff who had used flooding to train him. Now what had actually happened was Storm had become quite shut down and quite scared in those environments. He had attacked other dogs, all sorts of things. So what I did was I picked my own dog Elsie, who dogs, they seem to like her. She's a young playful bitch, and obviously Storm here, he's a boy, so that's a good match to start with. If I'm going to pair dogs together, generally I'll try and go bitch and dog rather than bitch and bitch or dog and dog. Elsie, please, Storm, move out the way. There we go, good boy. There we go. Elsie hates being sniffed, or even the dog trainer's dog has her own little foibles and stuff. So what I did was I started by parallel walking the two of them together until they just kind of got used to each other, and Storm could see that she's not scary, she's not anything to be worried about or anything like that. And yeah, I thought that we would come out to the local park and see how they do together. As you can see, Storm is actually walking quite nicely on the lead, whereas my own dog is hauling ass. Now, parallel walking is something that I use a lot. I find it's a very sort of low intensity way of teaching dogs that other dogs are okay, basically. Sharing sniffs like this is lovely, lovely behaviour. This is all part of sort of socialisation, part of bonding with other dogs. And as you can see, the fact that Storm is in fact sniffing means that he's not over threshold. He's not completely freaked out, not completely terrified of stuff. He's still not taking treats from me at the moment, but he's not a particularly foodie dog. Now, we've got a person coming along here. We will see how Storm responds, because Storm is reactive to people. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let him sort of see and watch what's going on. Excuse me, could you give us plenty of space? We're working on training this boy, and he can be a bit reactive to people. There we go. Who's that, Storm? So we're doing a live video at the same time as well. There we go, good boy. So what I did was I just allowed Storm to watch the person and a non-scary thing to happen. It seems quite boring and not that interesting. Elsie, if we could stop pulling, completely loony. Thank you very much. And yeah, just allowed Storm to observe what's going on. Now, when Storm first came in, actually on his first day, he pulled me over. He reacted so strongly to some of our other dogs that he dragged me over. However, I try not to capture that on film. It's not my job to set dogs up to fail. It is my job, however, to make it so that dogs aren't pulling quite this hard. Come on, Storm. Good boy. Right. What are you doing, sweetie? Okay, so I love this park here in Merthyr because there's lots and lots of open space, lots of things to do. And what I'm going to do is, this is normally the next stage of my training, I'm going to unclip Elsie so that I can manage Storm just on his own. Now, I've got Storm attached to a slip lead because it was the first thing that I could grab. However, I've got a stopper on it so that it's not acting as a tightening tool of any sort. And I have a long line here. I've completely fallen in love with these biothane long leads. Now, I'd say that's a pretty relaxed Storm. As you can see, Elsie is quite zoomy and playful. I'm not certain whether this is going to trigger Storm to react a little bit, but I suspect not. I've got a muzzle with me just in case. There we go. Swapping your, it's that German Shepherd GS. Just training him to stay on the right side, basically. You've got to make sure that you give him treats. My top tip of the day, I have my treat pouch on my left hand side. This means when I give treats, I treat here. I don't treat here or anywhere else. I'm not treating sort of randomly. I'm treating when the dog is in the heel position. That's just going to reinforce that your dog stays in the heel position, because good stuff happens. Oh, I should know by now not to do live videos while walking up a steep hill. I swear, you guys in Coventry and Surrey, you're lucky. You don't have to walk up and down mountains to train your dogs. Elsie, come on! The locals have been having a nice time. Good boy Storm. So I quite often do this with my behaviour modification dogs. I take them off-site. It's just a bit of a stress-free environment rather than being barked at by other dogs or being in a training field that smells like other dogs. Take them to a quiet local parks and trails and stuff. It's a nice way for me to start the day as well. There you go. Right, I'm going to see if Storm wants to take some food off me. Storm is typically more motivated by play, but we shall find out. I have some cheese in here somewhere. Storm, what's this? Interested? No, not interested today. What's this? Not interested in food at the moment. That's quite all right. You haven't long had your breakfast, to be fair. Sometimes I'll withhold the dog's breakfast until about lunchtime. Nicole, I don't really know. Royvon in Merthyr is up on Goat Mill Road. Now, if you cut down the side, there's like a big hill down the side, and then you can cut into a local park, and then you end up coming up here. So it's actually not far away from the centre of Merthyr, but not many people know about it, which is great. So I promise you that I'm not telling you because I want to keep it to myself. I just legitimately don't know where I am. This is good as well, smelling pea. Oh, Else, please don't roll in that. Thank you. There we go. So yeah, like I said, this way of introducing dogs to each other and helping them see that other dogs aren't scary, I like to do it in a low stress way. Makes it a lot easier. So taking them off site, long line, giving them plenty of freedom to choose what they want. Now, the reason I use long lines is obviously because Storm here, as lovely as he is, he's not mine and I don't want to lose him. So I have to keep him on a long line at all times. And this is a bit of progress from the other day. There we go. What are you doing, Storm? Fantastic, and I'm just going to let them sort of chill out and mooch around. Oh! There we go. So we have a strange dog that has arrived. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep hold of Storm here, who has got used to Elsie. And I'm going to let her... So, Storm isn't ready for this just yet. So I'm just going to hold on to him and move him away where I can. And hopefully this lovely gentleman will pop his dog on the lead. I'm not doing anything serious, I'm just holding on to the dog, that's all. As long as he avoids us, we don't mind. As long as he avoids us, we don't mind. Good boy, Storm. There we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to allow Storm on a long line. Now, if your dog starts reacting or something like this, bear in mind Storm is on the first couple of days of his training. So this is actually a good thing for you to see. All I did was hold him back, let him observe what's going on. And now we're going to follow this lovely gentleman. Oops! Who accidentally trod on his dog. There we go, Storm. And see what we can do here is we can actually turn what could have been a scary situation into a good one, because I'm allowing Storm to observe what's going on while Storm drags me down a hill. And we don't have to end it in a necessarily bad way. So we don't always have to end things on a bad note at all. A little bit of play. So it'll be quite exciting to see how Storm manages in that situation in a couple of weeks. He arrived 5 days ago. So the fact that he's made some dog friends while here is good progress, but that's let me know that we need to do some more work off-site. So to manage situations like that, if you have a reactive dog, I tend to go with management before anything else. So all I did was held on to Storm, made it a not stressful environment, ducked myself into that corner and kind of accepted my, cut my losses, so to speak. Now, the thing that we do next is, well, you never ever want to correct your dog in that situation. You never ever want to tell them off. All Storm is doing is saying, scary thing, go away. Now, if I was, I'm terrified of spiders. If I was in a bathtub full of spiders, and every time I screamed or tried to bat them away, you gave me a clout or told me to shut up or something like that, pretty soon I'm going to shut down. I'm going to go quiet, I'm going to curl up in a little ball, and yeah, it's not going to be good. Now, on the surface, it might seem like I am perfectly calm and happy. However, actually what's really happening is I've shut down, and it's probably quite emotionally traumatizing. So in that situation there, I could have, using this lead here, corrected Storm, told him off, told him that he's a bad boy, all that kind of thing. He's not a bad boy, he's a beautiful boy. Or what I could have done is manage the situation and then turn it into a positive one, which is what I did. I knew that Storm was going to bark as the dogs came past. So I just held him secure, that's all. Managed him, made sure that nobody got hurt. And then as they passed, I allowed him to follow, just kind of observe the dogs from behind and learn that nothing scary was going to happen. The more encounters like that you can have, the better. So what we're going to do now is I am just going to roll up my long line. Oh, there's a horse in there. To the lady that wanted to know where we are, there's horses around here, just so you know. There we go. I'm just going to pop this here. There we go. How are you doing, Storm? So just rolling up my long line. Somebody asked earlier where I got my biothane long line from, and I got it from Amazon, but they're now out of stock. It cost me about £15. They're really, really good because look, they're waterproof. I believe the guys in Surrey use them. They might have a cheaper way of getting them, I'm not entirely sure. So, that's the problem with being a dog trainer. Too many leads. Elsie, come. Okay, here we go. So again, ending the walks on a positive note. You might need to do a little bit of work on your loose lead walking, Storm. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you saw that there's some real world reactions and stuff going on. I'm not in the business of sort of pretending that everything's hunky-dory when it's not. Storm is clearly still quite reactive to other dogs passing, but I'm going to do regular live videos so that you can follow his story. He's very, very handsome, so this helps, of course. And yeah, we will see you again. Hi guys, this is lovely Storm again, who is in a very good mood today. He is even taking cheese from me, which is a really, really good positive sign that he's feeling comfortable. Now, what we're going to do is, this is going to be a very, very low intensity training session. We're going to have Storm, who is here on his long line, and as you can see in the distance, we have got group play. Now, I'm going to attempt to stand my phone up on this, and hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on. Now, there's a fence in the way, obviously, so we can use that as our roving muzzle, so to speak. And hang on a second. Oops. Trying to balance my phone on all sorts of things. Now, hopefully you can see what's going on. Now, the camera makes it appear like everything's a little bit closer, or no, sorry, a little bit further away than it is. Now, I have Storm on this long line, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to allow him to approach, and every time he disengages from the dogs and looks towards me, I am going to click and I am going to treat, quite simply. Now, if Storm stops taking food, that means he's over threshold, and what I need to do is I need to give him more distance, essentially. So have a look at this. This is going to be quite boring on the surface, but I want to just show you the kind of things that we do. So I'm going to invite Storm and see if he wants to approach first of all, once I've got myself untangled. There we go. Okay, so can you see what I did there? I brought Storm to a slow stop, allowed him to observe what was going on. I did a little squeaky noise with my mouth, just a little, and when Storm approached, I clicked and I treated. So quite simply, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to wander up to the fence line. We've got two main things happening here. We've got Storm being able to observe the dogs while under threshold. We've got counter conditioning happening, which is with our clicker and our treats. and we've got the bat training happening. So it's a combination of a few different stuff, but I'm finding it's working and it's very, very effective, particularly with Storm. So we'll give it another go. Let's see if he wants to approach. Would you like to go? So, I don't know how easy that was to see. It might have been a little bit difficult. However, what we had Nessa, who is one of our absolutely beautiful dogs who's in at the moment. She's a St. Bernard. I nearly said Newfoundland then. I had some Newfoundlands in last week. And quite simply, what happened was she came up to the fence and she did a little woof. And Storm, he became a little bit stiff. So I kind of brought him to a slow stop, allowed him to observe, made sure. I brought him to a stop and then loosened the lead like this. So then there was no pressure. There's no pressure on the situation. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. And I then invited him back. So all I did was shift my body weight back a little bit, made a little kissy noise. He didn't quite respond to that, so I called his name and he came round and he joined me. Now, a little bit of troubleshooting with this kind of training. If your dog is just looking at you, they are in working mode. So this means that the bat kind of thing and the dog making their own choices isn't happening. They're just focusing on the treats, really. So you don't want to put treats right in front of your dog's nose or convince them to walk loose lead for you or work for you at this stage. You just want the dog to make their own choices. Now, I'm just going to see if there's somewhere better that I can move the camera where you can see things a little clearer. There we go. I wonder, we're very lucky to have all of this green and sunshine, although it's making my slightly ridiculous blue hair. I do like ridiculous hair colours, even brighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this up here. There we go. Now, I found a trampoline to balance against, so we're going to wait and see. Some dogs playing in the background. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow him on the long line to approach, and I'm actually going to let him get up to the fence line this time if a dog approaches him. I'm going to see what he does, see whether he's ready for this yet. So, would you like to go and see?
I'm here. I didn't know you were here.
I'm doing a live video.
Yes, I'm gonna go fast to see if I can get in the group.
Now, I don't know whether you saw that, again. I am very aware that this kind of training is not as exciting as watching the dog whisper or anything like this. But he actually went right up to the fence line, he sniffed Obi, decided he didn't want to engage with him, but rather than reacting, all he did was he did a little, okay, I'm going to move away. And for that, I clicked and I rewarded. So we will take another look at this. Now, Alex, one of our other trainers, is currently taking a dog into group. So I'm going to wait until she's done with that one. There we go. We have a particularly boisterous group in at the moment. Bear with me for a second. Okay. Hayden. There we go. So I've asked Hayden to come over this way, and we're just going to allow Storm to approach again, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on. Doing a live video on the main page as well of his training. you saw there that Storm approached the fence and he didn't react, which is really, really good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip Storm to this and I'm going to hand the camera over to Hayden, who is hopefully going to help me. Right. Oops. Now, there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Hayden to hold on to the camera so you can see it from the other side. So, Storm, wait there. Hayden, can I borrow you for a moment? Hello. Hello. Hey, Lloyd. Right. So, this is Lloyd. This is Jess. She's one of my trainees as well. We've got Elmo and Tommy running around. I was going to ask, this is Hayden. He is a very rare breed of dog. Now, I was going to ask if Hayden can hold this and point it at myself and Storm. Keep an eye on the dogs that you're in there with as well. And just video from the other side so you can see what timing, of course. Right, I'm going to pick that back off you.
There we go.
Right. Never work with animals. They will embarrass you and decide to do a massive sloppy wet poop in the middle of everything. Thankfully I have some poo bags on me. I'll grab that at the end of our lesson. So hopefully you could see from the other side what Storm was doing. Now I'm going to remove the treats from the situation and I'd like to see if anybody's observing what body language signals is Storm offering apart from pooping. I'll wait until you're done, boy. This is the problem with working with live animals, isn't it? I'm very sorry, Storm. We are broadcasting your poop to the big wide world. There we go. This is our lovely group play area. Okay, so watch Storm's body language. What sort of body language signals is he offering? Now, at the moment, what I can actually observe on him is he's quite loose, he's quite relaxed, he's quite chilled out. The fact that he's sniffing and the fact that he's toileting is a very good sign. It's not kind of like urgent toileting, he's not panicked, he's not stressed, that kind of thing. And you can see his body language is quite relaxed, he's quite loose and fluid. He's panting a little heavily, but it is a warm day today. But this could be a sign of just a little bit of stress. So yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to keep you updated on how his training goes. You just need to follow the hashtag Kahla_training_StormGSD. I'm going to keep broadcasting his live training sessions every couple of days rather than every day, and you can see what his progress is. I'm hoping in the next few days I'm going to be able to introduce him into group play. So a little bit of a bark, so I'm going to move away. Storm! There we go. And see, a bark isn't the end of the world. That was just a little bit close, that's all. Okay, there we go. And now that Storm is disengaged and calmed down, I'm just going to give him a bit of a reward. Now, I don't reward immediately after a bark. If your dog is barking or anything like that and you're using reward-based training, generally what I tend to say is on the count of 3, I do 1, 2, 3, and then I reward. Now, all of the dogs are over here, so I'm actually going to carry on this training session a little longer. Oh, a little woof. A little woof. And again, a woof isn't the end of the world. We've heard much worse than a woof. And we're just going to let him observe the dogs. And I'll invite him back towards me. Come on then. Yeah, good boy. So in this instance now, I'm not using the rewards so much, I'm actually using distance as his reward. Now I'm going to invite him, see if he wants to come towards them again. Now Storm is reactive to people as well, so I'm allowing him to sort of sniff Hayden and see what's going on. And again, see what I do is I bring him to a stop on the line and then I allow the line to go loose. So I bring him to a stop and then loosen like this so that there's no pressure. With me? Good lad. So there's lots of places he can go. When he decides he wants to leave, I will leave. So a little bit too focused about what's going on. Lloyd and Tommy. Socialising doesn't need to be playing, it can just be observing. So we got Jess approaching over here. So stop. Good boy, that was a very good choice, Storm. Yeah, good boy. And we're still taking cheese. So I'm going to leave that one there because it's quite boring for you guys. We're going to carry on and do another 10 minutes or so. And we will see you again in a couple of days. I'm going to be doing some more muzzle training and stuff with him as well before we take him into group. So I'll teach you about all of that stuff as well. But oops. I will get used to this one day. Hi guys, I said I was going to be live, so I hope a few of you have tuned in. If you haven't, I'll obviously be mortally offended, but I'll probably get over it. Right, first of all, just thought I'd show you the training environment that I've got here. Now, I have a small, empty, quiet training environment that contains one slightly nervous German Shepherd. Now, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a little bit of something that I like to call, that most trainers call mat work. Now, it seems like a very, very simple exercise. Now, there's me wrestling with the tripod again. Seriously, me and technology do not get on very well. Give me a dog, I can work it out fine. Give me a tripod or something to do with the internet, and apparently I'm terrible at it. Apparently that's called getting old. Right, okay, so what I have Storm, who also, just so you know, he's got a bowl of fresh water over there. So despite the fact it's very hot out here, he's nice and cool, and he's got some water to drink. Thank you, that was lovely. He likes to share it with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you today about mat work. Now, previously, the last couple of days, I've worked with Storm and other dogs. Now, all of my behaviour modification trainees, I like to give them a day off from their triggers. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about flooding later, but what I do is for a couple of their training sessions, we find something else to do that will give them the skills and benefit them. However, it doesn't face them with their fears, basically. If I was to face them with dogs every single day, it would be called flooding, and that's something that I try and avoid where possible. So what I have set up here is this, oh, there we go, there. This is a mat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be teaching Storm to settle on the mat. Now, this might seem like a really kind of arbitrary exercise and something that's not related to dog aggression whatsoever. However, what it is going to do is it's going to teach Storm to settle down in new environments. Now, I advise owners sometimes, potentially, normally with young puppies and excitable dogs, to invest in normally a bath mat that's about the right size, and teach your dog to settle down on the mat on cue in lots and lots of different environments. Now, I bring my dogs to work on the train some mornings, and for the first few times that I did this, what I did was I taught my dogs to settle down on a mat. I rolled up the bath mat, I put it in my bag, and then when I got on the train, I unrolled it on the train. They settled down on the mat and they were able to settle in a new environment. It also teaches Storm to settle down. I'm not sure if you can hear the barking behind us, but there are sort of dogs in kennels. You can't see them where he is now. But it will teach him to settle down and relax in the presence of his triggers. Now, I'm going to do the same things I did before. I've got my clicker here. We want to get some Roivon branded ones soon. And we've got some cheese because Storm really likes cheese. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lure him onto the mat the first few times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the treat in his nose and I'm going to bring him forwards. And when he sits on the mat, I'm going to click and I'm going to treat. Then I'm going to start gradually working towards just moving around the mat and allowing him to approach the mat of his own accord. And when he settles down, I'm going to mark and reward. So, here we go. Okay. See, me and technology again. Okay. That works out all right. Now, Storm is very hand shy. He's a rescue dog. The owners don't know about his history, so it's going to seem very slow and very calm. I'm trying to avoid spooking him at all. So, Storm. Boy. Good boy. Yeah. Boy, there we go. What about that? Good boy. Come on then. Go on again. Oh, clever boy. Clever Storm. You come with me? I'll have a walk around. Oh, you're a smart cookie. You are. There we go. Now, I promise you I haven't done this with Storm before. That actually surprised me. That was really good. He understood very quickly that good stuff happens when he sits on the mat. So I'm going to show you that again. What I'm doing is I'm just walking around, and when he gets onto the mat, good stuff happens. Now, you can use this mat for all sorts of things. You can, there we go, off to go and get a drink. It's very hot out here. I have sunburn. I'm sure you can see my bright pink beetroot face at the moment. So the mat work, it's very useful for reactive dogs. It's very useful for nervous dogs, any dogs that are anxious or anything like that. It can be your portable safe space for your nervous dog. So Storm's owners eventually may be able to go out to the park, unroll the mat, sit down, have a picnic, because they're a young family, they're expecting a baby soon as well, or they've just recently had a baby, I can't remember off the top of my head. And essentially what we'd like to happen is Storm to be able to settle down and relax next to them. So this is going to be a useful tool for them in the future. So like I said, it might not seem like it's addressing dog reactivity right now. However, for our future training sessions, it's going to be very beneficial. So I'm going to show you again. Listen out for the click. I'm clicking when he chooses to sit down. Now, I haven't taught him this. I know it sounds like, here's one I made before. It's very Blue Peter. But I promise you, we haven't worked on this one before. Maybe his owners have. If your owners are watching, please let me know if you've worked on this before. Or just don't tell anyone and make it look like I'm an awesome trainer. There we go. So we're going to try that one again. Good boy. There we go. I'm going to go again. Can you lie down? Good boy. There we go. Good boy. Perfect. Good boy. Good boy. Boy. Good boy. Good boy. That's your boy? That's okay. Okay, so how many of you noticed the magic moment then? That was the moment when Storm was lying down. I asked him to lie down, just to see if he could, first of all, on cue, and he can. And then there was a magic moment where he stuck his hip out sideways. He just kind of slouched to one side. And that moment I captured with my clicker, and I gave him a double reward. What I did was I piled down a load of cheese and told him exactly that's what I want you to do. So what I was doing was capturing the moment that he actually chose to relax. So rather than him just lying on a mat, anybody can teach a dog to lie on a mat, what we need to do is we need to teach them to relax on the mat, and that is a very, very different thing. So we're going to give that one more go. I'm going to do some more of this after our live video as well, just so that I'm building up on the repetition, but I shall show you what I mean. Now, what we're going to do... Would you like to relax on the mat? Oh, good boy. There we go. It's here. It's here. Good boy. Good boy. Now, the multiple clicks is quite simply I'm asking for duration, so I'm asking him to stay there. So the longer he stays there, the more clicks he gets, the more treats he gets. Now, it's one of those exercises that eventually you won't be having to use too many treats at all, just occasional reward, even a scratch behind the ear if your dog finds that rewarding. Storm particularly likes a good butt scratch, actually. So yeah, that's the first bit of our lovely live video that we're going to do today. Now, the second one is I get asked by a lot of people about how to walk their dog's loose lead. Now, I'm going to make a loose lead walking video for you eventually, but I just wanted to discuss some equipment with you first of all. So what I have here is, now, this is Bonky. He is so named because, if you have a look, he has the bonkiest eyes that I have ever seen in the history of eyes. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Bonky here to describe some loose lead walking equipment. Now, Storm, thankfully, doesn't seem too worried about the presence of Bonky. It'd be quite unfortunate if he decided to eat it. I had a dog last week that decided that, yes, he has a puncture in his head. He decided he really needed to be eaten. So, we walk dogs on all sorts of equipment here, and I wouldn't say that there is one magic tool. This is the thing. There's no magic tool that will make your dog walk beautifully on the lead. There are some dogs that have great success in some things, and some dogs that are terrible in them. So, first things first. a backclip harness. Now, personally, I don't walk my dogs in a backclip harness very much at all. I don't like the fact that it pulls across the shoulders. I don't like the fact that all of the strength is in the front of the dog. It makes them lean into it, and I find it propagates pulling. However, if you want a dog who pulls, absolutely fantastic. If you are doing any kind of bat or long line work, they can be very useful because there's no pressure around the neck or anything like that. Don't be surprised, however, if your dog runs to the end of the lead and takes you off your feet. I personally try and avoid them where possible. Now, alternatively, we have things like this. Now, again, I don't personally use these, but I know a lot of people who do. Really? You want these? You want this? This is a half check. The idea is that this sound is aversive to dogs. They're not a particular fan of the sound. They know that that noise predicts a correction coming, and they avoid it basically. So I try and avoid using these where possible, but again, they can be used compassionately, and we get quite a few dogs that come in on them. I don't use them for training. However, if my dog walks loose lead, there's absolutely no problem with using one if you absolutely have to. An alternative method, if Storm can get his foot off of it. There we go. This is part of Storm's training because I want him to get used to me and basically become better friends with me. At the moment, he is rubbing his face in my crotch and headbutting Bonky out of the way. Now, the other thing that we've got is a halty. Now, a lot of people use halties. I use halties sometimes. If you've got a big, strong dog, I think all big, strong dogs should be taught to wear them. That might be a bit of a controversial thing. However, our dogs will be our animals. If you've got a dog that weighs more than you or is stronger than you and lunges towards the end of the lead, and you can't control it, then your dog is legally out of control. So it's a bit like I wouldn't walk a horse in a collar. I wouldn't walk a horse on a harness. However, you can walk a horse on a head collar. Now, the main trick with this is you've got to teach your dog to enjoy wearing it. You can't just put it on the dog because they're going to go like this and they're going to scrape it off. I can do a video at some point on how to teach a dog how to wear a halty. That's absolutely fine. For those of you that don't know, it goes over the nose like this. Excuse me, Bonky. There we go. And clips behind the head like this. And what happens is you clip the lead on here and it leads from underneath the chin. Now, they're very restrictive. I don't like using them particularly for reactive dogs because it doesn't give them as much of a get-out clause. And if they do lunge, that clip under the chin means that they can twist round like that and you can hurt them. My preferred current method of working is I either use just a flat collar or I use these. Now, these are front clip harnesses. Now, the halty ones, I have to admit, aren't the best designed ones because there's a band that goes across the chest and you can actually restrict your dog's elbows, restrict their movement. However, for temporary training, just while they're here for 3 weeks, we find they're very good. The idea is this goes around the body and this goes at the front. So the lead clips onto the front of your dog. Yes, I know, Storm. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. So if you look at Bonky here, the idea is that it clips on to the front. So if the dog lunges, it pulls the dog towards you instead. Now, lots and lots of different methods of walking your dog, lots and lots of different things. We use slip leads here to walk dogs to and from kennels just because they're easy, one size fits all. Slip the slip over, walk to the play group and walk them back and that sort of thing. I sometimes walk my own dogs in slip leads as well because I find the nature of them, nature of my walks tends to be on lead, off lead, on lead, off lead, that kind of thing. I wouldn't advise walking a dog who pulls hard in a slip lead, only because that choking effect will take action or take place, and I try and avoid that if possible, to be honest. So yes, that was basically what I was going to talk to you guys about. Now, just to finish off the session, I'll explain to you again why I'm not working with Storm with other dogs at the moment. I'm giving him a day off, basically. So if I was to put him with other dogs today, and every single day that he was here, what would happen is something called flooding would take place. Now, this is the same reason that not all dogs go into group play, because flooding does take place in group play. I don't want to overwhelm him, basically. I want him to make really, really good choices. I just started training my German Shepherd with a training lead like you had on the dog you're training. Can you explain to me which one you mean? Only because I currently don't have a lead on the dog. I don't know whether I'm being a bit dim with that one. If you explain that and use simple language, it's very hot out here, my brain is starting to melt. So, yes, what we want to do is we want to avoid doing any sort of flooding. I don't want Storm to become overwhelmed because he'll take a back step. what I want to happen is I want him to make good choices, and to do that I need him to slow down, to think about what he's learnt. Not that he goes and sits there and thinks, right, today there was a staffy and I didn't react to that. What a process happens with that we call latent learning, and I want him to process this information, take time, let the stress levels and the cortisol levels, stress hormones and all that sort of thing deplete a little bit, and then I'll bring him back out with other dogs. So my dogs won't walk when they have harnesses on. Right, okay, rule of thumb, pair scary things with nice things. So when you put the harnesses on your dog, are they not walking because it hurts? Or are they not walking because it's uncomfortable in any way? Or are they not walking because it feels strange? Now, my pup, whenever I put her harness on, for the first 10 minutes, she thinks she's stuck. She stands there like this, and she's like, I'm stuck in a hole, I can't move. And as much as it's hilarious, it's also a little bit upsetting because she is clearly terrified. So what I do is every time I put her harness on, I give her treats. So pair the scary thing with the nice thing. If you even, if you hold up the treat, if you watch Alex's video, actually, I believe it was yesterday, it's down in the main feed. She talked about muzzle training. Now, it's exactly the same process with that. What she was doing was she was showing Buster the muzzle, clicking and treating. Best way to do it, show your dogs the harness, click and treat. Show your dogs the harness, click and treat. Then eventually you might be able to put the harness onto the dogs, click and treat, click and treat. Any forward movement, click and treat. Even if it's the tiniest step forwards, and let them know, and yeah, make it a party every time they walk forwards, and you'll have a lot more success. If you're still struggling with that, send us a message and we can probably help you out. Now, I'm just going back through the comments. There we go. So, yeah, my yellow lead. I'm a bit of a dork with dog equipment, as you can see. I probably shouldn't really have any friends, to be honest. So, this is my favourite lead at the moment. This is a biothane long line. And essentially what I do is, well, yeah, I use it as a long line. The great thing is it doesn't end up smelling like dog poo or dog wee or mud or anything like that, and I can just wipe it clean. It's very, very good. However, I paid about £25 for this. They're a bloody fortune. So you try treats and harness on, works in the house, but as soon as we get outside they stop. So I'd look at why your dogs are worried about the outside world. It might be that your dog's a little bit scared of traffic outside. Do you go out immediately and there's cars or anything like that? Have a think about what you can do to build their confidence. Why do you need to walk them in a harness? If you go outside with just a normal collar on, are they absolutely fine? Have a play around with sort of what it might be that they're fearful of. To me, it sounds like if they're fine in the house with their harness on and they're not outside, sounds like the outside world's a bit scary. So, I'm going to end this session by revisiting the mat work. We will see how much Storm has remembered. It's absolutely boiling out here. For those people that say it doesn't get sunny in Merthyr, you're lying. There we go. Okay. So walk your dogs separately. That would probably be the best way. If your dogs are both reactive, walk them separately. You won't always have to walk them separately, but if you're having hard work with your dogs, or it is a struggle, make it easier. Make it easier for yourself. Nobody wants to walk two reactive dogs at the same time. I've currently got two reactive dogs in called Leo and Lola, and I trained them separately for the first 2 weeks and brought them together for the last week, and they're doing very, very well. They've stopped trying to bite each other as well, which is very good. Now, for those of you that weren't watching at the beginning, what I'm doing is I'm doing mat work with this lovely guy. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking and treating when he offers me good behaviour on the mat. He only gets treats if he's on the mat. So let's have a look. Go. Boy. Stop. Okay, so, well, if you've got 5 dogs, you're going to have to find more hours in the day. Or you can bring them along to Roivon. We have lots and lots of different sites. Storm is now having a bark at something, which is absolutely fine. That's the thing with reactive dogs. People have a meltdown if their dogs bark. If your dog barks, it's not the end of the world. He is now disengaged from whatever it is. Storm, what's this? There you go, go and get the cheese. There we go. Okay, so yeah, if you've got 5 dogs, bring them along to Roivon. We've got sites in Merthyr and Surrey and Coventry, so we've got quite a few. I'm being laughed at for doing live videos, people walking past. So yeah, basically if you've got any questions, please let us know. Like I said, if you've got 5 dogs, I can't really address the reactivity issues of 5 dogs over a live video, however we probably can in an assessment. And Alex is going to be going live tomorrow. She's probably going to be, well, I know she's doing something on impulse control, so yeah, tune in tomorrow and Alex will be talking about some stuff. And enjoy. I hope this was a little bit useful for you, talking about equipment. I know that I've waffled on a little bit, but yeah, take care. Okay. Hi, I'm Kahla. You've seen a couple of my videos of Storm. I just caught sight of my hair, that's awful. I should probably do my hair before these live videos. This is Storm, the German Shepherd. You've seen some of my live videos, and what I've been doing is working on his reactivity towards other dogs. Now, as you can see, he's looking a lot calmer in the presence of the other dogs that are in this field, I promise. They're just constantly hiding out of our vision. Now, what we're going to do today is we are going to play a game called Look at That. Now, what the idea of this game is essentially, let me just, again, wrestling with the tripod. There we go. What the aim of this game is we want Storm to look at the other dogs without reacting. So, Storm, what's this? Good boy. There we go. So, what we're going to do is we're not just going to ask him to exist in the same space as the other dogs without reacting. We're going to actually actively ask him to look at them. So if you have a look at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a bit close to the fence so Storm is closer to his threshold, so he's a little bit concerned or a little bit worried. And what we're going to do is we are going to allow him to observe the other dogs. When he looks at them, I'm quite simply going to mark with the clicker, and that means that he gets a little piece of cheese. So this is good for dogs that are food motivated, and it's a great game to go and play in local parks and things like that. If you go and sit on a bench that's far away from the other dogs and just kind of, just watch what they're doing and allow your dog to observe what's going on, and whenever they look at the dog, click and treat. If they look away from the dogs, click and treat. Lots and lots of opportunities. So I'm just going to turn this round so you can see what's going on. And hopefully we will go up and we'll see some dogs. We'll see how close we can get. Now, what I've got Storm on a harness and a long lead, so essentially he is off lead as far as he is concerned. So we shall see what happens. Boy. Boy. Okay. So, did you see in that? What was happening was I was quite simply just waiting for Storm to look. Now, this is it's a process called operant conditioning, that's the technical term for it, but essentially what I want is Storm to look at the dogs and look away, and look at the dogs and look away. What's happening here as well is a process called counter conditioning. So, I always use the analogy up at the Roy Vaughan car park in Merthyr. The car park is set down a little bit and the road is up here, so dogs can see the road but they don't tend to be freaked out by it. Now, if I've got a dog that's frightened of cars, what I'll go and do is I'll go and sit and I'll click and I'll treat and I'll click and I'll treat, and I'll do that for the full 21 days if I have to, moving closer and closer and closer. And eventually the dog, instead of going, oh my god there's a car, is going to go, the cheese car's here, this is the best day ever. So this is what I want Storm to do. I want him to see dogs approaching and dogs being nearby. It means good stuff comes from me. This is going to solve my problems for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's going to change his emotional response to the stimulus, in this case the dogs. And number 2, it's going to teach him that when a dog appears to turn away and look towards me. So we're going to give that another go. We're going to move a little bit close to the fence as well. Now, you might have noticed that Storm was barking at me a couple of times. What I did was I just ignored that. He was barking at me because he wants the cheese. I want him to work out that the way to get the cheese is to interact with the other dogs by looking at them, watching them, sniffing them, that kind of thing. So we'll give this another go. Have a look.
She's stalking that bee.
She's stalking that bee live on video. Boy. And see how I noticed that lovely Lucy over here was coming a little bit close, so we just did an emergency exit at that point. I just turned it into a non-stressful situation, just picked up the lead, and what we did, this way and follow me. And now Storm is enjoying sniffing some treats out of the grass as well. There we go. So I use the comment below. I use watch me with Chloe when looking at dogs, and treat when he looks at me and he doesn't react. Is what you're doing a better way, Kahla? Not necessarily. The idea is that I just treat, if he is reacting, then you're too close to the trigger, so he is over threshold, basically. So the idea of this game is that the dog never reacts. You don't want them to react in this game. You want them to just look at the dogs and hopefully look away as well. So we're going to show that one again. Now look at the timing of my clicker. What I'm doing is sometimes I'm marking just for looking, and sometimes I'm marking for looking away. Oh, come back this way, Chloe. Wandering away when I need you.
Casper!
It's not that kind of live video, Casper.
Okay.
What? Stop. There we go. Good boy. I'll explain that one in a minute. Yeah, there we go. So, we had a little reaction there. I like it when that happens. Storm. So what happened there was, actually that was entirely my fault. I was too slow to recognise that there could have been an issue, and I didn't reel him in quick enough. Now, what could have happened is I could have either made the lead tense, which freaks Storm out and makes the situation a lot more stressful, or what I could do, Storm, boy, what I could do is I could actually allow him to approach the fence, and he did a bit of a typical shepherd's, that rup, rup, rup noise, and doing this barking, this warning bark, and then he was like, oh no, wait, you're not that bad. Oh, okay. And then I called him back, rewarded him for coming back, and we turned what was essentially potentially a negative situation into a positive situation. Now, who remembers my first live video with Storm? We went off site for a walk, and we found some other dogs, and he did some quite relentless barking at some dogs that passed. Now, that barking, it sort of carried on, and it was sort of a good minute or so, and he was bark, 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 bark. And now we've got to the point where he kind of goes, ruff, 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 and then turns away, because he's realised that he doesn't need to carry on barking. He doesn't need to do all of this. It's all part of the learning process again. So I'm going to get Chloe to come over in this direction again, just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So how long have I been working with Storm doing this? Storm has been with me for about just over a week. So he's been doing training sessions every day, varying between sort of 15 minutes and an hour, depending on kind of what he's doing. So yeah, just over a week at the moment. So we're making good progress, aren't we? Now, he's a rescue dog. He's very, very nervous of lots of things. When I was bringing the tripod out, which obviously is a kind of like a stick thing, he didn't like that at all. He's very nervous of hands going anywhere near him, touching him, that sort of stuff. So he has overall a lot of anxieties. However, we are working mostly on his dog skills at the moment and the occasional things. How long should training sessions be? It depends, really. I operate by how long the dog wants it to be. So Storm here, good boy. There we go. As you can see, still training even when talking. That's multitasking. There we go. So yeah, training sessions, it tends to vary, really. So what I do is if Storm is doing well, if he is enjoying his session, if he's still taking treats, if he's not overwhelmed, then the session might be as like 45 minutes of doing this. However, normally I recommend when you're first trying it out, short and sweet is always better. Always end your session on a high note as well. So if you notice your dog is starting to get reactive or grumpy or not taking the food, cut your losses, end it there, try again the next day. So Storm. Good boy, there we go. The clicker I'm not using as a distraction. This is a marker. So what I am doing is I am marking things that I like. At the beginning of the session, I was marking whenever he looked at another dog. So if he looked at the dog, the marker happened, and he got a reward following that as well. So what was happening was he was looking at the dog. I was telling him, yes, look at the dog, that's fantastic. And cheese was following. Now, scientifically behind this as well, what happens is when you've got a clicker trained dog, they start to learn that the clicker means good stuff, and what actually happens is when he hears the click, he gets a little rush of dopamine. So he actually starts to get feel-good happy chemicals just as a result of looking at the scary thing, which obviously, if we've got a reactive dog, is a fantastic thing completely. I'm going to get Lauren to walk along this way a little bit just to herd the dogs in our direction. Oh no, we've got Nessa coming over. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and work against Nessa, and I'm going to try not to be daft. I'm not going to let him approach the fence this time. So what we're going to do, Storm. Oops. Lael. Nessa's fine there. We need Nessa. Nessa, don't wander off. Good girl, Nessa. Nessa, what's this? No. Stop. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, good boy. And as you can see, it is working very, very well. So I don't know whether you can see the distance, but that means that Storm's threshold distance when he first came in was probably the other end of a football field. That would be the point that he'd start reacting and flailing towards other dogs. A week or so in, and it's approximately 3 or 4 feet now. So this proves to me that we are doing the right things. As you can see, he's just observing and watching the dogs. He's quite comfortable and relaxed. Now, it's not a very exciting way of training. It's really, really very boring. It's look at that, look at that, look at that. However, it's a really powerful way of training, and the more repetition that you do of it, the better. This is what we do. This is the primary way that me and Alex do a lot of our rehabilitation for sort of aggressive dogs and fearful dogs, that kind of thing. It's just basically pair the scary thing with nice things. So in this case, Storm loves a piece of cheese, and in this case, he finds dogs quite scary. So whenever you've got a problem with a dog reacting or being aggressive towards particular things, try pairing that scary thing with a nice thing, and hopefully you should change your dog's emotional response to it. And if you need any help or anything like that, just ask below. I'm going to be answering questions all day anyway. I'm a bit of a Facebook geek like that. So yeah, I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for commenting, guys. It's always really nice when people comment on my videos. It lets me know that it's actually useful for you lot. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.